best SMMA offer for you. So by the end of this video, you will have everything you need to craft your Grand Slam offer. Because for the last week, I've been spending my days researching, studying businesses, specifically marketing agencies, just trying to find out what is the difference between the winners and the losers. And great news, because I found a pattern. Today, I'm just going to be breaking you down the pattern, the ladder, the progressioning, and the reason for that pattern. Step number one is the free trial. Setting a free trial is something that takes some humility to do. To give a metaphor, it's like taking one step backwards so you can take 10 steps forwards in the future. But how does it move you 10 steps forward? Because it's not that we learn service labor that moves us 10 steps forward. That is important, but it's really the case study that moves us 10 steps forward from where we were before. It doesn't matter how it's presented. A case study is a display of the results that you've previously received with a client doing whatever service you provide. It gives foundations to your claims. Imagine if a random homeless guy walked up to you. His name was Bill, and he wanted you to give him $1,000, and he said he'd give you back 10x that, or he'd come back with $10,000. You'd say no, and you'd probably be a little bit creeped out as to why Bill walked up to you. And then you find out that guy is Bill Gates. You'd fork over way more money, or you'd be way likelier to, just because you know why. Because Bill Gates has a track record and undeniable proof that he can multiply money at a large scale. Getting a case study validates our offer in the exact same way. As soon as we get one, we can turn into selling machines because our actual claims and things we say have weight because we've provided them in the past. So to summarize the first step, we're going to work on free trials until we can get a case study, which will be leveraged as undeniable proof of our competence in the past that we have received results. So before I move on, I would really like to stress the importance of doing this because there's a few stories that really drove this concept home for me. One is Dylan Wilson. You might have seen him around YouTube. So when Dylan was transitioning out of his first marketing agency and moving into his second in the gym niche, all he had was one case study. And it wasn't a crazy result. It was just a positive return on ad spend that he got with his client. And using that, he scaled to $20K per month in 5 weeks, right? Ridiculous. Tony Lee, you might have also seen around YouTube doing podcasts, has a very similar story. He had a bunch of free trial clients, collected case studies, and then scaled quote unquote overnight to $17K per month just because he had so much case study and so much undeniable proof that he is that guy and he can provide those results for you. My point is that case studies are going to be vital. It's the best thing you can do to back up the actual marketing claims that you're going to be making so your words have weight and you're not just another feather in the wind. Step number two is going to be commission. So depending on your experience and the quality of your case study, you might be able to skip over this phase because this is where you're getting to charge a commission based on the results generated for your clients. In most cases, this is going to be a pay per show, which is the most effective way of doing this. There's also the option of splitting close deals with your clients, but that's a little bit more complicated. If you're in a lead generation agency, a pay per show just means charging a client per appointment / lead that they receive and schedule in. There are two situations where you can skip over this phase. And number one is if you have a case study that justifies a retainer up front. So let's say you use $500 from a guy and you make him $10,000, $20,000 back. That would justify, just going up front with the retainer because you have such undeniable proof that you can deliver great results already. The number two scenario is that you have enough sales skills to close retainers with what you got in the case study that you already have, whether it's like an absolute A1 case study or just an average one. I mean really good at sales, not just confidence in sales, but actual experience, years of experience that you are a great salesperson because it's going to be very difficult if we don't have a case study. If you don't have those two things, this is going to be your route. It is not worse. There is simply more variables and moving pieces as we're offering the commission offers because we don't actually know how much we'll be making at the end of the month. It's completely dependent on the results that we actually receive. And the goal should be to do this until we can do what's called a pay-per-show drop. Right, and I'll explain exactly what that is. So let's say we're charging $100 per appointment to our clients. We get our clients 18 appointments, meaning that they need to pay us out $1,800. So now we can go to that client and explain to them, hey, I don't want to swallow up your entire business's profits, etc. With partner. What do you think about switching to an $1,000 a month retainer? And the reason why you would do this, right? Because even though it might seem like you're making less money, what it brings is consistent cash flow. Because as an agency, we're going to be having a lot of clients. And a lot of clients, we want predictable revenue because ads are up and down, right? There's seasons where ads are doing extremely good. There's seasons where ads aren't doing extremely good. And we don't want our revenue to be completely, right? It's important to have some reliance on ads. We need to deliver for our clients. We need to keep them. What I'm saying is we have to have some base and consistent cash flow. This is a great way of doing it because our clients will do, hey, this guy is not going to charge me as much money and the results are going to be the same, right? That's why you want to do it at that actual win phase where they pay you out. So we offer this to our new prospects. So we do it with our existing client that we got the crazy paper show result with. We can also do it with our new prospects. We would call it paper show option close, right? Essentially what this is explaining to a prospect that we usually have two pricing options. Number one is the retainer option, which is $1,000 per month, and option two is the pay per appointment. Because we want a consistent revenue, we would prefer the actual option one over option two in our mind. But right now, there isn't like any real differentiator between the two. We want to set our paper, we want to emphasis on the paper show, right? So which one do you think would be a lot more attractive in this case scenario, right? It would be $1,000 retainer, $225 paper show, right? Right now, it's still, kind of iffy, right? Hair in the wind. Say get 4 appointments. Oh, it's pretty well the exact same, right? And that would be the situation here. But when you give these two options, it's still kind of in the wind, like I was saying. But it's until they see a case study where if you generated them 18 appointments, as an example, they don't want to charge the $4,000 because, or they don't want to pay you $4,000, they only want to pay you $1,000. So using that is how we break out of the paper show phase and move into step number 3, which is going to be the irresistible offer. At this point, we have our ducks in a row as an agency owner. As a mentor of Young Hormozi said, this whole phase is going to be about making an offer so good that people feel stupid saying no. This final section is heavily based in the teachings of the book $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. Our goal should be to distinguish ourselves in the market by making something that is one of one, a unique offer, right? And we can do this by either going way lower than our competition, so just absolutely price dropping absolutely everyone, or going way higher than our competition and having a very unique offer and value stacking. Because competitive pricing won't win us the game here. We just want a offer that is very different. It doesn't have to be necessarily better, it just has to be different. Because this section alone is extremely large, I can make entire videos on it. I'm just going to give you some examples of what Grand Slam offers can look like, because there is a criteria that I'll break down to use to actually make your own Grand Slam offers, but the video would be an hour long if I went ahead and did that. So let me move my face over here and show you an example of how you can take a time management course, and this is all in acquisition.com. Alex Hormozi 100 Mil Offers, complete credit to them. Completely stealing this here. Just want to show you guys the example. I think it's extremely valuable. So let's say we have a time management course, right? This time management course is initially priced at $19. And what you can see is that as we specify, right, so the course will stay the exact same, but as we specify the marketing around it, we can make it far more appealing. So time management is only $20, but time management for sales professionals, now it's speaking to a certain avatar person, right? And now we can justify charging that $99. Right? Even though it might seem like a scam, you might have the emotional dilemma of, hey, but it's the exact same thing, so why can I charge more money? It's because it's going to be more valuable, right? Think about what this would do for a average Joe. If you gave this to a guy that is flipping burgers at McDonald's and you allow him to manage his time better, he gets paid by the hour, so it probably wouldn't make much of a difference for him. But let's say you give this to a sales professional, right? And then you free up, let's say, 10 hours in a month for that sales professional. In that 10 hours, they spend prospecting, they spend doing all these things, and because of that, they end up closing an extra $3,000. So even though you've charged them a little bit more money, you've provided them way more value than the guy flipping burgers, because the guy flipping burgers gets nothing off of it. And this keeps scaling down. If we look at this time management for outbound B2B sales reps, it's the exact same. Even though it might seem unjustified charging the $500, the value of it to them is going to be worth more than $500 because that's what they're going to make off of it. And we go down even more. Time management for outbound B2B power tools and sales reps gardening people, right? Very, very, very specific avatar. But because it is exactly for them, exactly targeted towards them, we can charge a lot more and the value is going to be a lot more for them, right? It's the exact same product as this time management course, but just because of the positioning, it becomes more valuable to the people that we're actually selling it to. And that's an example of a Grand Slam offer. Another agency offer here. So this is straight off the acquisition.com course, which I recommend everybody checks out. It's super good for breaking down your offer. But you can see here the difference between a normal offer and then a Grand Slam offer. So you can see here that the commodity offer, which is something that isn't really that great, just a normal offer, they'd spend $10,000 in ad spend, right, to bring in eyeballs to their page. The exact same amount of people reached, but the response rate would be a lot lower with the commodity offer. The appointments booked would be a lot lower with the commodity offer. The show rate would be the exact same. The appointments show that will reflect the amount of appointments booked. The closing rate will be a lot lower. The appointments closed will be a lot lower. The price will be a lot lower. The total amount of money will be a lot lower, and the ROAS will be a lot lower. Right now, they're making 0.51. That is their ratio. So it means that they're relying on their clients staying for 2 months in order to break even, which is good, but it's not something that's going to scale you to the point where you're going to have to never work again. Whereas another offer over here, right, you can see the price has changed from $1,000 to $4,000, right? And it's 4x price. So it's one-time coaching versus recurring. Now we're charging a 4x price. And because the offer seems so much more appealing, we're going to have more response. We're going to have a higher close rate. We're going to collect we're going to charge 4 times the price. We're going to collect 22.4 times the cash up front. So now, and I know it's blocked out here, bad screenshot by me, but the ROAS turns from 0.51 to 11.2 to 1, if I remember correctly. And that is ridiculous, right? You spend $1 and you get 11.2 back, which is amazing, right? And those are the strong offers and examples of grand slam offers you could possibly implement to your business. Right now, what I'm going to do is just going to create a final ladder of the offer progression for you. So the phase number 1 over here is going to be our free trial. The goal of the free trial, right, is to get this case study, which is this right here. That's going to be our vehicle to get to the next phase. So phase number 2, which is going to be the commission. So commission right over here. Our goal with the commission is going to be to get undeniable proof and eventually do what's called a paper show drop onto the number 3 section, which is going to be the irresistible offer, which is making a one-on-one offer that people feel stupid saying no to. And that is progression of the offer. So I hope the time that I stole from you was worth the value I provided. No, I'm a little bit sick, so my voice is a bit stuffy. Everything's a little bit off. But coming back into the next week, we're going to have some great uploads coming up. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.